I'm a type 1 diabetic, and sometimes that means that I might experience something called hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is a low blood sugar. What happens when you have a low blood sugar is quintessentially everything that Eminem described in that famous 8 Mile track. You get sweaty palms, you get knees weak, arms heavy, but the only thing you're missing is mom's spaghetti on your sweater already. And in order to treat a hypoglycemic episode, all you gotta do is eat some sugar. And these are my go-tos. But recently I was talking to my dietitian and she told me these apparently have pretty bad quality control. And she claims that some of her clients have told her, and again, this is anecdotal, but that these have really bad quality control. And that while a perfect dose of these is about 15 grams of carbohydrates, that some of these will have less than 4 pieces and others upwards of 9 or 10. So without further ado, we've got 100 Welch's fruit snacks in these 2 boxes. We're gonna find out how equal are they, how many pieces do they actually have, what's the split of the pieces, was my dietitian right, or is there nothing to worry about?
Let's dive into these children's snacks and find out just how accurate these labels really are. If you're sat at home watching this video wondering, Eden, who cares? It's just a little bit of candy. Well, let me explain to you really quickly why something like this matters. Whether you're a type 1 diabetic or not, these labels are incredibly important. But let's take the example of a type 1 diabetic because this can truly be a life or death situation. If you've gone out hiking or playing any sport and you get a low blood sugar, that's when you'll keep something like this around. Now, in my case, if I take one of these, normally that's enough to treat a low blood sugar, but sometimes in extreme cases, I might need 2 of these packages. Now let's assume that my dietitian is correct and that I need 2 of these packages to treat a low blood sugar, but both of them are 25% less effective because both of them are mislabeled and they do not have the right amount of carbohydrates. That means I won't be able to treat my low blood sugar and it could, in the worst case, be fatal. Now I understand that situation isn't exactly relatable to everyone, so let's take an example that we can all learn from. Weight gain or weight loss. If we're trying to gain weight and we see that these show 15 grams of carbs and we're assuming that there will be 30 grams of carbs between 2 packages, then we want to be consuming 30 grams of carbs. So if we see 30 grams and we're trying to gain weight, but really all we ate was 20, the difference right there is going to be 40 calories. In the short term, that may not be a big deal, but in the long term, if every label is mislabeled like that, well then maybe that calorie surplus or calorie deficit that we think we're in, maybe we're not in one.
Alright guys, that's all of them. The sun is set. Let's see, are the labels lying to us? Is there anything we need to worry about? But first, I gotta do something about this. Not a single one was dropped.
Now I'm sure if I took my time and had access to lab equipment, I'd be able to get much more data much quicker. But for today, we're gonna use our small sample size of just 100 pieces. Here are the results. When looking at the number of pieces that each package had, they were actually pretty tightly controlled. When looking at the mean, median, and mode, we had a mean of 10.51 pieces, a median of 10 pieces, and a mode of also 10 pieces. The amount of pieces per package varied anywhere between 10 pieces and 12 pieces, and mind you, only one of all 100 packages had 12 pieces. So this was pretty tightly controlled. The package advertises 22 grams per pack. The mean that we saw was 21.79 grams. We had a median of 22, so on average, just like advertised. And our range was anywhere between 20 and 25 grams. Again, that 12-piece package was the only one that we saw that had 25 grams. The rest were pretty tightly controlled between 21 and 23 grams. Again, our most common occurring was 21 grams. While that's a gram short of what's advertised, that's pretty good, right? While food manufacturers are tightly controlled, they can have a leeway of about 10 to 20%. Now, this is very important if you're someone who's trying to scale a business, because realistically, we can't have the same lady packing the packages when we only have to sell 1 to 10 packages compared to when we're trying to sell 10 million.
You may start your landing.
Excellent. We'll prepare for our descent. Hey, Consuela, no cleaning. No cleaning while I'm doing the hologram. Shut that off!
Mr. Darth, you no have no more Windex on Star Destroyer.
Well, that's not my problem. Why don't you go out and buy some?
No, you buy.
What if I give you the money, then you can go out and buy it?
There are some automations that we would need to put in place to drive the prices down to keep the consumers happy. And this is where we find ourselves in the crossroad of business, legislation, and health. While filming this video, I've heard some pretty wacky stories about food labels and how far off they are. Let me know down in the comments if you've heard some pretty wacky stories or if you've experienced food labels being incredibly inaccurate. And I'm also curious, did you think my dietitian would be right? If I'm quite honest with you, I certainly thought my dietitian would be right and that this would be way off. But I'm happy to say that the Welch's fruit snacks that I've been eating have all been relatively similar in size, and there's nothing I need to worry about with regards to treating my blood glucose. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one.
By the way, last month we launched my brand new high protein cookbook. Anyone that puts an order in for one will get a big, huge smoochy kiss from me. So make sure you guys tag me on Instagram at Evidence Nutrition so that I can give you a big, fat, wet one when you do. See you later. Oh, and by the way, YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so give it a shot and don't forget to hit subscribe.